Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Writercat. You can find me at Writercat on Twitter. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
Columbia down the way.
And the sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, 1agent_7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings.
Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Yes, rest in peace to Biggie, whose passing was just anniversary of his passing just happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yes, folks, this is the Comic Book Chronicles, and you can find us on the Coast of the Podcast Network, the CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal of the Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. You can find us recording mostly every Thursday night, because this is not one of those nights, but you can find us
life is always different every day.
Yeah, it seems like, but mostly we try to record on every Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And since time changed, it hadn't gotten weird because it feels like it's going back the way it should be, actually. But
Right.
yes, Thursdays, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, or whatever the Switch equivalent is. You know what it is, Eastern, doggone it. On the YouTube channel of the Kliq Nation, that's twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles and youtube.com/the Kliq Nation.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Smash that like button so you know when we're on live.
I hate it.
You know, I don't say that often. I
know you don't, but I still hate it. No, it's always funny to hear. I don't hate it, but it's always funny to hear, though. Yeah. Plus, well, when you're on YouTube and you see those stupid thumbnails where people are making stupid faces or whatnot, or whatever the case may be, like
they're doing animations too. Yeah, they throw animations into the video
or something. Yeah, it's like, look, we don't do that because I'm lazy, but but those are just like, just stop, please. Just stop. Anyway, what's not going to stop is this train, because we folks got a lot to get through tonight and a short time to get there. Thank you, Windows Alert.
Yeah.
We are going to, what's that?
Said I feel like I'm at work. I got a Windows alert.
Well, hopefully the same thing doesn't happen last week. That happens
right.
This time. So, and luckily that didn't happen because I can still hear you. So, and if you don't know, well, check the video for the last week. So I didn't do anything to that. But folks, we are going to get this train rolling with the show by starting off with. So here's something funny. Normally, both Agent 70 and I would when we have some television shows to watch, we try to get it in before the show. And life was life in this week. So, interestingly enough, I ended up watching the 2 episodes of Star Wars: The Bad Batch, which is episodes 6 and 7, and Agent 70 saw this week's Invincible season 2, number 5. So neither one of us caught the same thing. Yeah, we both.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with a very spoiler-free, since he hadn't watched The Bad Batch yet, talking about that show. And it's going to be real brief anyway, because honestly, I watched it like probably 2-3 days ago, and I halfway remember what happens. Although, judging by the name of it, you can get a sense of what did happen. And Agent 70, you did have the names of
Yes.
those.
So Episode 6 is titled Infiltration, and episode 7 is titled Extraction.
And I feel like that's pretty much all you need to know about about that show. I mean, about what happened. I will say that, hey, yeah, the Bad Batch kind of got into something, and they got themselves out of a thing. And in true sense of both of those words, that's kind of what happened. And I guess in a way, kind of what we've been saying about how they're going to treat this arc of the Bad Batch is pretty much the case. But although I did not expect them to kind of, I guess I expected them to wait until the last part, but I guess they said, hey, we're just going to go ahead and do this, which makes sense because like I can't imagine what else they need to do outside of like, hey, we need to wrap up what's going to happen with this crew. We're not there yet, but there is a pretty much some information gets exchanged during the course of these 2 episodes, or more importantly, in the first of the 2 episodes, about what the Bad Batch is going to need to do. And then that point was brought home about what they need to do at the end of this of the second episode, put it this way.
Right.
Like I said, the names of the shows themselves pretty much give you a pretty broad idea of what's going on. So luckily for that, you know, it keeps me from having to spoil it.
Right. What I was going to say is obviously, you know, the Clone Force 99 are former Imperial Army, right? Or Imperial soldiers, basically. And just knowing that terminology, infiltration and extraction, you don't need to have watched very many, you know, action films or even be like mildly familiar with military jargon, but that's pretty typical. So you kind of have an idea what's going on.
Pretty much.
Like that's without overstating what Roddy Cat said, because he really put it in pretty clear terms.
Yeah. Right. Because like I said, there's a couple of things I could mention about it, but like I said, I feel like that would be venturing into spoiler territory, and I don't want to do that. So, plus, you know, I don't think it would spoil. Like I said, if the names of the shows, the episodes themselves didn't spoil it for you, then you know I don't know what to tell you. Once you watch it, you be like, yeah, okay,
Yep.
Gotcha. Yep. So that's it for Bad Batch, and for this week, 8 to 7 is going to talk about Invincible episode 5.
Sure. So episode 5 of Invincible is the return of the second half of season 2 of Invincible. The title of the episode is "This Must Come as a Shock." It's pretty apt. It's pretty aptly titled. I will just say about this episode is that what I'll say is every single dangling plot line that was left over from the first half of this season is picked up. Not necessarily completely addressed, but picked up to carry, you know, to basically carry it forward into the next half of the season. That makes for a very disjointed episode because there are certain storylines and plot lines that we care about. There are certain, you know, side stories, not necessarily side quests, but definitely side stories that we don't necessarily care about. Ultimately, we know they're going to come together at some point, but I think that is, you know, that made for slightly tough viewing, where yes, it's nice to catch up with some of the other characters. It is nice, but to a certain extent, you're just like, well, can we figure out what's going on with this whole wait, what planet is Omni-Man from again? I forgot.
Vitruvium. He's a Vitramite or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, Viltrumite.
Yeah.
Thank you. I completely zoned out on that one. Viltrumite, right? From Viltrum. That's right.
Right. Which
So yeah, I kind of want to focus on that stuff, but
gotcha.
I get it. I get it.
Right. And I've said this before, and I'll probably say it a few more times while this season's going on. But as a matter of fact, I'm pretty much primed to go back and read Invincible, because I have never read any of this book. I might have skimmed like an issue or two
Right.
here and there, but I've never read any of it. So, and like I said, I'm primed to do it because they've been putting out those compendiums. Well, they have the compendiums about. I think they also have a couple of some other hardcovers that are continuing to go out while this stuff is going on. So,
Gotcha.
but anywho, yeah, folks, that takes care of the shows of this week. Like I said, next week, yeah,
We'll probably be caught up.
probably.
We'll probably be caught up. I mean, in terms of Invincible, when does that come out?
That's just what I was
Friday?
about to ask you, actually. I think it's Thursday, actually, but I'm not sure.
That makes it a little bit more difficult because I know that Bad Batch is Wednesday.
Right.
So let me see very quickly. When does Invincible release schedule? Live podcasting, folks.
Indeed.
Live podcasting. Let's see.
Thursday at 3 a.m.
Okay, so it is Thursday. So we'll have an opportunity, hopefully, to be able to watch it. But these episodes tend to be on the longer side, so it's tough sometimes.
Yeah, this one was 53 minutes.
Yeah. So it's tough sometimes to squeeze that in.
Yeah. So, and since we do record on Thursday, you can understand how not easy that is to get to. But
yeah, some weeks are easier than others, but yeah.
Right. Or unless we have days like like today where we don't record on a Thursday, so which is happening more often than not.
Life.
Yeah, life is life.
I was about to say, just wait until movies start hitting again. That's gonna completely throw us all off.
Yeah, but this year we ain't got to really worry about too much though, because I mean, from what we've seen of the schedule,
it's not because of the strike, right? At least because of the strike, we've got a little bit of a reprieve.
Right. Next year, yeah, definitely it's gonna, or if they push some stuff back into this year, but definitely next year, yeah, we're gonna see some serious shit.
Yeah,
as the doc would say. That being said, folks, what up, Benji? Good to see you.
How you doing?
We're going to move on to the books of the week.
Ready?
Oh yeah, I was waiting for you to do the thing.
All right, books of the week. We are transitioning over.
Meanwhile, the Hall of Justice.
Which is kind of funny because I feel like I made that exact reference in a couple of times in a book.
That's funny.
In it this week. And I think, matter of fact, yes, because the first book we're going to talk about is where I made such a reference. Amazing Spider-Man number 45. I was about to say 25. 45.
I actually just saw the solicitation for issue 50 because obviously that's going to be a big deal. So there's definitely going to be a build-up even with this Blood Hunt stuff leading up to issue 50 in Amazing Spider-Man. So Amazing Spider-Man number 45 is written by Zeb Wells, with a guest artist Carmen Carnero, colors by Marcio Meniz, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna, our favorite hardest working lettering paisan. So the way this issue opens is kind of jarring because it brings to mind something that maybe happened off panel. It's hard to tell because, sometimes reading this Zeb Wells run is, kind of holding your nose, pinching your nose closed and just kind of reading, so sometimes it is hard to remember some of the things that, some of the subplots that he's laid out. And one of the subplots that he laid out was explored in this issue, and it involved Aunt Anna, who's not always depicted the same by these artists, but Carmen Carnero decided to depict Aunt Anna as long haired. I've seen her with short hair more often than not, but that could just be, that's obviously artist choice. So there's a lot going on in here in the sense that we're moving towards possibly setting up issue 50. And I only noticed that after reading this and then seeing the solicitations for 50. So that is a little bit of inside baseball.
Right. I suspect. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. And ultimately, there's some interesting setup on the, at the end of the issue and on the cliffhanger page of the issue. Take it away.
Right. I was just going to say that I don't think that was an artist choice. I think that might have been an aspect of because of where Anna is, and the fact that they probably haven't been doing what she normally would have done, would have been doing. I think.
No, that's logical. That's definitely logical.
So, but to Agent 70's point though, yeah. So what Agent 70 is talking about is something that was addressed in an issue, but yeah, we didn't see the thing happened in relation to Aunt Anna, but it was definitely said. I couldn't tell you, as I told Agent 7 before the show, I don't remember what issue it was because it's been, like he said, it's kind of just closing your ears and reading, whatever the case may be.
No, pinching your nose.
Yeah, pinching your nose and reading or whatnot, or whatnot, and some of it. But I think it was probably right before Gang War went down proper is when that happened, because the Corona stuff was happening. And we did talk about last week to where Spidey and Jackpot was going to be, or have some involvement in Fall of the X stuff, which I assume that this is part of that because of their relation to it. Mm-hmm. But it also brings the question real quick in Anna's actual status, because we know what happened to her going into. So if we did not know, because this is at this point it's kind of oldish news, she was taking Krakoan medicine, and that Krakoan medicine ended up being bad and turning humans kind of out of their mind, and she got caught up in that. Now there was a cure, and this is the only thing I'll say that was brought up in this issue, which I guess now I should bring it up, because if you read this issue, there's a footnote that's kind of off an issue from what is mentioned here, because X-Men 29 is mentioned, but what was being referenced happened in X-Men 30. That may or may not make any difference to anybody, but it is something that kind of made me stop for a second, because I was like, wait, I read that issue. I don't remember anything like that happening in that issue, and sure enough, I was right. So, but that being the case, it brought to the question, so because of what happened to her then, and because of what happened to her taking the Krakoan medicine, and what happens in this issue, does that mean that she's okay now, or does that put her back to where she was before she took the medicine? Is the thing that I'm curious about, because, well, unfortunately, she was dealing with something that I have personal involvement with someone who is going through something similar. So that's well, you kind of hate to see it. But it's a comic book, so it's not even the same thing. But it was still it just kind of made me think about it. It was like, well, wait, so where does that put her now between, taking the medicine and now? And it was kind of curious. Outside of that, we get some more Spidey we get Spidey and Jackpot stuff, and then we kind of get a continuation of going back to that Aunt Anna situation, which leads into what Agent 70 was talking about with the cliffhanger page, which I feel like there was an article about that happening, and it probably was something that came out of Solicit, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Let's just say there's going to be an old band get back together, not an actual band, but some fighter adjacent.
It's not the Blues Brothers.
Yes, definitely not. Some spider adjacent ne'er-do-wells might be is trying to get the band back together. And actually, that brings up another question on that point because I don't know. Did you know about that other name for the character that Peter talks to? Okay, so I wasn't the only one.
My reaction, you know, Korath is coming.
Right.
Who? I was like,
Right.
what the?
I thought they did a Magneto. I was like, what does this happen?
I didn't bother to Google it. I just cursed at Zeb Wells.
I didn't Google it either, but I was like, wait a minute. And then when the name we know the name we know got brought up, I'm like, oh, they're doing that with it. Okay. But it still didn't make any sense. Because it was like, well, when did this other name come up?
Yeah, like whatever, man.
Right.
So just very quickly, are you?
I'm done.
I wanted to just bring up something. I was just pulling up because I have the cliffhanger page in front of me. I also have the first page of the letters column, and the first page of the letters, the first column of the letters page, That's what I wanted to say, but because it looks like there's 2 pages of letters here published. The first column in the letters page, the first letters page, describes what's coming up in Amazing Spider-Man. Okay. And so apparently this book is going to have another issue with Carmen Carnero on it, and then it's going to have 2 issues with Todd Nauck on it. And unfortunately, we're going to have Chasm and Hallows Eve come back. And then after that, JR Jr. is coming back because that's the lead up to 50.
Gotcha.
Because this is 45, so it's like a 45, 46, 47, 48, and then I guess 49 and 50 are when the big stuff starts to happen again.
Right. Well, if we know anything from the real world, 45 is not exactly a good number.
Right. Right.
So, yeah. But actually, there was one other thing I wanted to mention about this issue that kind of had me puzzled because Whirlwind shows up in this. And
yeah, but he's not dead anymore.
Well, see, that's where the question comes in. Because wait, is this before Avengers?
Avengers Inc. Yeah,
Avengers Inc. Or is this after? And well, no, because even in Avengers Inc., like I said, that's not even still a thing in Avengers Inc. So,
oh man.
So I'm thinking like, where the hell does this sit in all of that? I'm like, so that was like, oh, I'm like, is one part of Marvel not talking to each other, or is this just one of those sliding time frames where this is then and that was at some other point where we don't know about, and whatever the case may be. But yeah, so that's 45. We Amazing Spider-Man 45. We've talked way too much about that, but it did have a couple of head scratcher moments in this.
Sure.
In this thing.
Well, I think that the conversation is extended simply because now we have an idea where this is going. If it wasn't for the fact that I had taken a peek at solicits,
right?
Because I hate to say this, since I stopped looking at solicits because of kind of drawing back and stopping physical pulls for such a long time, we've been kind of playing things as they come out. When you get back into pulling, even on a very limited basis, the way I am now, you look at solicits just to make sure you stay on top of things. You're not going to pull it just because you don't care enough about these books. But now you see things like the Zeb Wells run where, you see what they're leading up to and you're like, oh, so that's where this issue is. And that's, like 3, 4, 5 months away.
Right. Or if you're pulling news and you happen to see solicits and stuff because articles will right off the bat will just be like, hey, this is going to happen.
Right. Exactly.
So
it's, it's an interesting way to approach it, the way we've been doing it, which is good, but having some context is helpful. All right.
Yeah, this is true. So yeah, I was saying the transition was meanwhile at the Hall of Justice, I basically started my note off for Amazing Spider-Man with meanwhile at Arkham. I mean Ravencroft.
Yeah.
So,
I get it, man. I get it. That's a good one. That's a good one. But you know what?
What's that?
President Bartlett?
Just stand there and you're wrong. Listen, be wrong and get used to it.
No, that's not what we want to say, President Bartlett. How about this?
What's next?
There we go.
Avengers Twilight, book 4 is our next book.
So Avengers Twilight #4, book 4 is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Daniel Acuna and letters. What did I say before? He's our favorite lettering python, the hardest working letterer in showbiz or in comics, VC's Joe Caramagna. I'm going to tell him that. The next time I see him at a con, I'm going to call him the hardest working letterer at Marvel Comics.
I mean, that's probably true because you usually see some of the other VC folks doing stuff outside of Marvel. I don't think I've seen, or it could be something I haven't read, but I haven't seen too much of his name on stuff outside of Marvel. But I do see the others for certain.
Right. So, broad strokes here, folks. Broad strokes. Thor has hit the scene. He's on the cover. No big spoiler here. That was the big cliffhanger ending of the last issue, and everything comes to bear in this issue. Like I said, broad strokes. I'll let Roddy Cat fill in some of it. I will say that, interestingly enough, this is also an issue where the band is somewhat brought back together. It was very much an assembling of Avengers, as it were, and we also get plans being laid out. We also have a particular scenario played out where we all know what I'm going to play. Roddy Cat knows what I'm going to play, and it's not.
Who?
It's not.
Excellent.
Sometimes it's kind of, at least from Cap's perspective.
Boy, I'm too old for this shit.
You know what it is, though? Something happens, and immediately Admiral Akbar comes to mind. And that happens right away in this issue. Not right away, but it happens at a certain point in this issue.
Yeah, midway in.
Right. We do get some flashbacks, though. We're starting to get some idea of what this H-Day, what happened in and around this H-Day event.
Or a little more on it, anyway.
Say again?
Or a little more on it, because we've seen shades of it from different perspectives. We're getting someone else's perspective on it.
Right. As I said, since it's part of the band getting back together, we're getting a particular view of what happened. And we said before that this is 8 issues. I remember we looked this up.
Thought it was 12, but I don't. But I'm not,
because I don't remember being that long.
Right.
Because I know we looked this up, and I feel like we talked about this. We just need to actually keep track of it so that we can say we're halfway through and whatnot. So we are looking this up now, folks, just to see how many issues there are here.
Every time this book comes up, I try to go to Comic List or Previews World to see, and half the time, and I think I did check Comic List, and neither one of them has it.
So check this out. This is an article on Superhero Hype, so take that with some grain of salt. This is only a 6-issue series, so we are in the second half of the story right now.
Interesting.
Right, so there's a lot happening. So it seems like we may be building up to a big finale sooner rather than later.
And given the end, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that kind of makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because basically along with the backstory, we get a little bit of somebody came clean. I call dude Skullranko. Because we find out, well, actually, we kind of already knew, because I think it's been out before in past issues about who's kind of behind things and who's running things. But Skullranko kind of tells Tony's son, basically, who he's been working with, about things.
And kind of turns into Skulltron.
Thank you. And that was the other thing I was about to say, because I have that in my notes also.
Oh, it is? Exact Skulltron?
Exactly. Yeah, look at my notes. It's in there.
I didn't look. That's what I'm saying. It's funny that we both hit on the same kind of shortening, you know, combination of the two. That's funny.
So yeah, so we get that going coming out of the end of that book. So yeah, that makes sense. If this is 6 issues, that it makes more sense given what happened then, because it seemed like something like that wouldn't have happened if it was 12 issues. It wouldn't happen this soon, you know, or we would have still been getting like shades of it or teases to it, but definitely not just full on, hey, here's Skulltron.
So there is a panel, a scene in this issue that spreads across several panels, and you know, mild spoilers for this series. Cap is brought back to fighting shape, not full fighting shape, but mostly mostly back to his regular fighting shape.
Right.
And he mentioned something, and I know I literally quoted this when I was in the middle of some volleyball. Since I read this, I said that the old bones remember, they just need more nudging. You know, that's kind of, you know, it's kind of a fact of life. You know, your muscle memory and body remembers how to do certain things. As you get older, though, they just need a little bit more, you know, nudging, encouragement, as it were.
Right. Warm up. Electroshock in some cases. I don't know. not actually, but you know.
Yeah. Pretty much. Something a bit more of a push. That's really what, you know. That, you know, obviously Zdarsky's being a little bit more poetic than I. So
right. But yeah, there was a couple of things I need to mention. Oh, I not need to mention, but I was going to mention there was a leading up to the trap part. I do love there was a return of a slight return of an art of a Hawkeye staple in choice of arrows that gets used. I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting that to happen with somebody that wasn't Clint, but here you go. And also there was a nice. Well, it's still kind of sad but I have a feeling it's going to turn out for the best, and Agent 7 knows what I'm talking about when I mentioned the name Rosa. There is that part where there's a little there's still a little bit of between them and Steve that is still kind of being played out here. We still don't know who Rosa actually is or should be outside of attached to Steve in this.
I think she's a wholly new character,
right?
And you know, she's kind of our point of view to a certain extent,
right?
You know, because she's the regular person dealing with, you know, the basically the reborn. You know, talk about Operation Rebirth ×2, right?
Right.
The born Captain America, and you know, she has a line in here about how when Cap says a certain thing, you tend to believe it.
Yeah, if only for a moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, whoops. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so that's I feel like I would hope Zdarsky didn't put her in here for no reason. And there's something going to happen with that at the end of this, but I don't know. Or it could just be what it is, and like, no, this is just a nice little side thing, you know, in addition to, you know, the big overall plot that Zdarsky decided to put in here. So we'll see. But Avengers upon potential Avengers next issue and or Skulltron, we shall see. All right, last book we got in common. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this right now.
Thundercats.
Stop it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the crackling.
Yeah, I don't.
I thought, you know what? If there's one thing I do need to pull, you know, like Thundercats related, is Sword of Omens. Give me sight beyond sight.
Oh,
I kind of forgot about that until I read it.
Oh. Actually, yeah. I have that actually.
Nice.
I don't know if I have it on the board, but I do have it.
Yeah, I've got to get that. I got to get that. I got to pull that. So,
Oh wait, hold on for a second. Actually, hold on for a second. My boy's going full. My boy's actually going absolutely full now because that's not what that's supposed to be.
It's all right, folks. Listen, the gremlins are about. Let's try to avoid dealing with more gremlins.
Yeah.
Thundercats #2 is written by Declan Shalvey with art by Drew Moss, colors by Chiara Di Francia and Martina Pignadelli. Forgive me, I did not take, I believe, Italian. That sound those names just sound very much Italian. Letters are by Jeff Eckelberry. One of the things that Roddy Cat and I talked about in our pre-show production meeting, when we were talking about the books that we were going to talk about, especially about this Thundercats issue, is that certain elements of this story obviously borrow from what we know. There are going to be new things that are woven in, much like the Transformers book that Daniel Warren Johnson is writing that I'm not reading, that I have not really read yet. But Roddy Cat has said it is essentially the same story in that book. So we're dealing with things that we know, but not even twists, but just throwing, like new elements being thrown in. This issue has a familiar but still different element being thrown in. There's still things being developed. It's only issue 2. We don't have, and this is the mildest spoiler, we do not have the Thundercats set up in like a defensive position. When I put it like that, you know what doesn't exist yet. Right?
But you see things of them getting there.
Right. You can see developments. You can see, certain parts of the story would be building on, progress in that direction, setting up, let's just call it a defensive position, and certain other, things that we're used to seeing with the Thundercats. We are at the very beginning of their story. So you won't see that stuff for just a little while longer. But, this issue does throw in a twist that builds on the twist at the end of the first issue. And with that, I'll pass the ball to Roddy Cat.
Yeah. So yeah, what Agent 70 said is pretty much the case. Now just like Transformers, which we will be talking about in a little bit, yeah, they are taking beats from the original story, but definitely doing things differently. So if you didn't read issue 1, we see them, crash landing on third Earth. So that's, if you know the Thundercat story, you kind of know that kind of thing happens. So, and this is still taking up shortly thereafter that, but a couple of things have happened since then, which I still won't go into, because one of them was the big thing that was at the end of the issue that is still being dealt with, which, if you remember enough of the Thundercats animated series, did happen, just didn't happen anytime near as soon as this book has gotten to it. And that goes the same for another thing that Agent 70 was alluding to that also happened at some point in the animated series. That has happened here quite early on. We thought, and it still could very well be, that there was going to be a new addition to the crew, and there is. But it may or may not go the way that, into what you would think it will. Or it might, if you think of the animated series in a certain way. Put it that way.
Yep.
So, it's continued to be an interesting book so far, and it's interesting the choices that they have made right off the bat, because you would think they would have some of the stuff they was like, well, we'll wait on some of the stuff because we're going something else. So clearly, Declan Shalvey's got some ideas about where this book is going to go for them, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to stick to anything related to the animated series. I'm sure.
No Robert Burbles right away.
No, not so much. No Talking Snarf actually either. So that I can remember.
Good point. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, because we did see Snarf in the first issue. We hadn't seen him at all in this one, but as far as I remember, no, he wasn't talking. So in that respect, they're kind of going with the 2011 Thundercats. If that's
Snarf.
Yeah, if that's the case, because that Snarf also did not talk. But yeah, but continues to be a pretty good book. With what's going on. There is another thing that was brought up at the end of last issue that is still continuing into this one in the form of a certain relation between two characters. Neither one, well, both in various states of living.
Mm-hmm.
One that we haven't quite seen yet either, but we have seen shades of. And apparently, according to as of this issue, some folks may have run afoul of this character, have definitely run afoul of this character in one way, shape, or form. But our main characters have yet to, let's just say. Mm-hmm. So, but nevertheless, still there, still present, still ever living in some sort of way. There you go. But yeah, we also got a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of Lionel being Lionel in the form of, hey, he's still young, but he's trying to prove to the others that his body and mind is matching, which they are still not. Right. We got Kit and Kat, trying to help in their ways. We almost got some beef between a couple of one of the aforementioned and one of the other Thundercats because of what was said. And cooler heads in the form of the variant cover that you're seeing on the video screen. It kind of came in between stuff because Lionel's is feeling kind of one way, and the rest of the Thundercats, being older and wiser and skeptical, are thinking another way about a situation.
Right. And what's funny is that is absolutely on point with how they developed the Lionel character in the animated series. Absolutely on point. So that is absolutely parallel to what you know. So it is no surprise, as long as you are familiar with the show, that was happening.
Oh yeah.
If you're brand new to the story, you're like, well, I kind of see why, why he'd act like this.
Right. So, but obviously, well, not obviously, but this book is clearly catered to folks who have been there. Now, if it happens to catch some new readers, that's probably great. And it probably will, because like, so, this doesn't necessarily need to lend itself on the back of the animated series, because at the very least, one of those series is older than most folks out there reading or current readers now. And the other ones, I'm sure there are some folks that might have watched, the 2011 one, which is a definite retake, reboot, remake. Not even a remake, a kind of a reboot of that. So, which I know was met different ways, if I remember correctly. So, it had some things going for it. But anyway, that is Thundercats number 2. It's, like I said, continues to be a good book. I'm curious to see where this book continues to go, especially with what they've already set in motion so far. But yeah, check it out if you feel like it. And with that, folks, that is the end of the books that we have in common. We're going to get to Kliqs. Excuse me, no, we're not. We're going to get to rapid fire
reviews. Here we go, folks. Rapid fire reviews. I'm only going to have one, spoiler alert.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Rapid fire reviews, and I've only got one, and I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. Immortal Thor number 8 is written by Al Ewing, with art by Ibrahim Roberson, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Joe Sabino. So my summary of this, my review of this is going to be on the short side, but I'll tell you that the experience of reading this issue is long. It takes a while to get through because there is a ton of exposition, storytelling, backstory, flashback that Al Ewing has put into this issue to help fill in why a certain character would act a certain way, and it dives directly into the history of Thor immediately prior to the last, like the 30 issues, the last, let's say 35 issues prior to the Simonson run starting. I had to Google this, folks, because my only understanding of some of the stories that were being recapped and retold, my only understanding of them was taken from old Ohatmu issues. I remember reading about this happening in Ohatmu, but never having read it in the stories proper. So seeing it again, being recapped, made me appreciate something that Roddy Cat said once, which is you can count on Al Ewing to dig deep into the lore and the canon to dig up something to put into a current story. And that is something that he has absolutely done. And let me tell you, it's a long read, but it's still super well done. And the cliffhanger at the end of this issue is pretty epic. So, kudos to it. Definite candidate for Click of the Week for me. That's it for me.
And I suspect going into that one shot that we know that is coming up, that there's a story in the clickbait section, but I imagine this is probably in service of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So it kind of makes sense to where it's a little dense and pulling from some stuff from some deep cuts, so to speak. So
very deep cuts.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
This is stuff that it doesn't predate our existence. It predates our understanding and reading of the character, even as young kids.
Right. So I'm looking forward to catching up on this. All right, folks. For myself, we start off with excuse me. I know I got the thing hooked up, but I don't trust my board right now.
Wait, you need a Transformers sound effect?
Sure, hit it.
All right, let me see if I can't find one. Let's see. Oh, of course, now I can't find them. Isn't that funny? So, like, I wish if I had like a slightly better way of keeping track of where I throw these things sometimes. So, I mean,
Hold on to your butts.
let's see. Transformers. No, we know. Here we go.
There we go. Transformers number 6. I'm not cutting any of that out. Written and art by Daniel Warren Johnson. Colors
Don't
by...
shoot you.
Yeah, nah. Colors by Mike Spicer, but I guess this is the last issue for that to be the case. And for Daniel Warren Johnson to be doing the art, I guess, also. And also letters by Russ Wooten. So this book continues to be wild. And I say that because the Transformers story from from 84, just like we just said about Thundercats, is while it starts there, it definitely doesn't end there, and it definitely doesn't use that as for anything outside of, hey, this is the start. Because this goes places. This book has gone places so far and done things so far that the 84 series would never. The movie, however, which as I told Agent 70 prior to the show, this issue, and I know he's not caught up on this yet, but when he gets here, he'll definitely catch what I mean. This issue definitely has a couple of shades, a couple of references to the movie. That even that doesn't go the way you would think of. And if you're watching the video version and you're seeing the cover of the issue, you can think along those lines, but not totally. I'll just say that.
One shall fall.
Hey, you know what? Not even that, but yes. In a way, yes.
Okay, I was just guessing. I was guessing.
in a way, yes, but
Okay.
not directly. Matter of fact, I just switched over to another, which Agent 70 is not seeing this, but I just switched over to another variant cover that tells directly of the fight. Because to get into things real quickly, it's pretty much what's left of the, well, not what's left. Yeah, it's pretty much what's left of the Autobots against Devastator, because he came into the scene at the end of last issue. Starscream's still around, and so is Soundwave. But you know what? You got Devastator, so you pretty much do all the heavy lifting. Boom, boom.
No.
So yeah, Devastator's kind of running wild, and it ain't good for the Autobots. You know, they're trying to catch a break. Some stuff goes down in this particular issue, and which is why I've told Agent 70 that I still continue to say that Daniel Warren Johnson is pretty much living out some childhood fantasies with this book, including one particular page that, if you think about anything that I've just said just now, pretty much comes because I'm not going to revisit it, but there's a whole page that you'll probably see in probably a day or two on the CB Cap's Instagram page that pretty much tells its own story, and tells a story that you kind of know in a way, or at least brings up a story that you definitely know in a way. But yeah, that being said, this issue and this book just has been going on a few cylinders since the beginning, and I've been enjoying it so far. And again, just like the Thundercats, I'm wondering where this is going, because this is kind of knocking through a couple of different things that you didn't expect to happen anytime soon or at all during the course of the first 6 issues. And this is the end of the first arc, by the way. So, you know, I guess this is where he's going to end up going his own way going forward. So we shall see what happens with that. Anyway, next book, Star Trek, Sons of Star Trek #1. And yes, that is the the actual title.
Is that really the title?
That is really the title of the book, yeah. I mean, it just says on the cover, it just says Sons of Star Trek. But if you look at it on like previews or comic looks, I believe it does say Star Trek : Sons of Star Trek #1. So which is a miniseries written by Morgan Hampton, and I forgot. I know I've read something that they've written recent. Cyborg, that's what it was. Okay, that makes that makes sense. Okay, but Morgan Hampton doing the writing, art by Angel Hernandez, colors by Nick Filardi, and letters by Clayton Cowles. Again, like not doing VC work on this one, but you know, of VC when he's doing his Marvel's things.
Right, freelance.
Yes, exactly. I gotta get the monies. So as I say in my notes, this starts off in a very Trek way with a little bit of a narration done by the eldest child of one Benjamin Sisko, and I say eldest because there is another child in the picture at this point. And if the name didn't tell you anything, yes, it is definitely having something to do with Sons of Star Trek, but it's particular sons, that being Jake Sisko, Nog, Alexander Rozhenko, and the apparent son of a certain mischievous letter that keeps cropping up in Trek.
God.
So once you know you got all of that in play, you know where the story is kind of going, and it does, because that latter person gets the former names that I mentioned set off on an adventure And on that venture, it's kind of funny because I don't know if, well, I assume this was the writer's intention, but they pretty much crossed the streams, as my notes say, because there are some names that show up in this issue like Tuvix, Mariner, Shaw, Morn also shows up, but you know, and of course we get a Dex, our beloved Dex, that shows up in here. So yeah, we get some people showing up in this, which one of those names says a line that kind of made me groan. Now granted, it's a line that you expect that person to say, but they are not necessarily the right person to say it. There's a character that calls Jake and Nog Nepo babies.
Oh no.
To which, again, this character who says that is kind of one themselves. But also, this is a character who, if you know your recent Trek stuff, would be the person that would say something like that. And it is one of the names that I just mentioned. So there you go. But yeah, like I said, this adventure is just starting off for those folks, and it's probably leading to them basically trying to figure out where they're going to go into the future, because it starts off with Nog and Jake talking to Benjamin basically about their futures and their paths in life, and I guess them trying to figure it all out. And Alexander's on DS9 because he was a part of that that Day of Blood stuff on the opposing side, and he got caught up in this. So you know, Worf's son is still in the picture. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much the deal with this. If anything that I just said is of interest to you, then yeah, sure, check it out. It seems like it might go somewhere. We shall. I will keep reading and let you know. Next book. I'm gonna try to finish this up actually kind of quickly. Because hey. Black Widow and Hawkeye #1, written by Stephanie Phillips, art by Paolo Villanelli, color artist Mattia Iacano. I apologize if I butchered your name. And letters by VC's Joe Sabino, the other Joe from VC. So Venom Widow, as I am calling her, is looking for Clint Barton, because he had been accused of an assassination. If you did not know, Natasha and Clint has been friends for many a decade. In fact, you would say one kind of got the other into things. If you remember your Marvel history. As a matter of fact, there is a backup story that kind of dives back into those early days of them and of them. I'm not sure where it is in relation to one of their interests in Hawkeye. I mean, excuse me, in Iron Man, but it is definitely around that time. There is a revelation at the end of this issue about the first thing that I said about this, and I'm sure we're going to get into, you know, what's all of that about in the next few issues. And of course, it wouldn't be a Black Widow Hawkeye miniseries if a certain bird doesn't show up that is related to, well, actually technically kind of both of them, but definitely related to one of them and friends with the other at this point, which I did not know, but who kind of shows up in this. So that was a welcome thing to see. I remember there was a bunch of there was a few miniseries a while back, and I think this miniseries is kind of playing on those, where it might be a Hawkeye or Hawkeye and Mockingbird, which is the bird in question, by the way, and then somehow, some way, Black Widow ends up coming into place, or it turns into a Black Widow miniseries. And I think this is kind of continuing along that line, especially judging by some things that are said and done in this book. So I've been liking it so far. I'm gonna try to keep up with this and see what's up. Next up is Ultimate Black Panther. I know Agent 70 hasn't had a chance to read this yet, so I won't spoil too much of it, or any of it realistically. But or try to anyway. Try not to. It's written by Brian Hill, art by Stefanos Caselli, color artist David Curio, and lettered by BC's Corey Pettit. So we continue a month after the first issue. And if you remember what happened at the end of the first issue, yeah, things weren't looking too good on a certain side. We got Khonshu and Ra trying to make inroads into Africa and making their way to Wakanda for reasons. We come to find out that they may have a connection inside Wakanda more than we knew originally. Outside of that, we got one T'Challa. This being very driven by the events of what happened in that first issue, and if not for having Okoye and Zir, might be going down a possibly darker path, but ends up dealing with some folks who may or may not be using them or not, that showed up in the first issue, and gets a vision that has may or may not have something to do with another person that shows up in the first issue, or may have something to do with a person that is already in the that has been in a couple issues. You'll be the judge of that, but if you read to the end of this issue, you'll know the answer to that. Regardless, some things have going on in the Ultimate Universe in Wakanda, and yeah, still pretty good. Last but not least is, and I know Agent 7 hadn't had a chance to read this either, but Fall of the House of X #3, written by Jared Duggan, art by Lucas Wernick and Jethro Morales, color artist Brian Valenza, and BC's Travis Lanham. So I know Agent 7 is going to read this, so all I'm going to say about this is that some things happened. It's still continuing on the road to the end of the Krakoan era. And this was probably not so much of a spoiler because I know he's been keeping up with the other books as well, but the rallying cry kind of starts going out.
Right. Avengers Assemble. Oh, no, I'm kidding.
Not too far off, but some things get dealt with in the course of this issue. And if you see the cover of this, you might kind of sort of have an idea, but not really because of what of who shows up on this, basically. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Because like I said, it's definitely worth a read. And there's also, I know from my reading, it made me, as I told Agent 7 before this, I need to go back and read Rise of X, because I think it was something out of there that came up here that I must have missed out on, or it's in one of the other books that's tied that I feel like I'm caught up on, but I can't. But I'm like, I don't know when this actually happened. Right. So
that's your last, right?
Yeah, and that's it for me, folks. Kliqs of the week.
Well, before we get to Kliqs of the week, I wanted to just mention that we also neither of us read Dead X-Men.
This is true.
And while that's kind of tangential, it's kind of not. So to a certain extent, we were a little bit behind this week, and because I like how I'm going to borrow this one from Thundercat and make sure I give him full credit. Life was lifing this week. So I know the faithful viewers and listeners of this show depend on us to read as much as possible. So we try to do our best, but sometimes life just lifes. So Kliqs of the week.
Although I think I can safely say that, well, I need to go back and read the last issue of Dead X-Men also, and this one, now that I think about it, but I don't think anything there has anything to do with this, because from what I know about what I was missing out of this book was not anywhere near there. But it still could happen, because like I said, the things have been kind of folding together in these books. Do you have your potentials, sir, for Kliqs of the week?
I definitely do. So my candidates for Kliq of the week this week are Avengers Twilight #4 and Immortal Thor #8. So those are my two. I've just got to make a choice. How about yourself?
Immortal. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't read that yet. There is the Mark Brooks head cover for Immortal Thor. There's stuff there. For myself, Transformers is definitely up there if that wasn't apparent. Avengers, Twilight, probably, and because it's doing what it's doing, Fall of the House of X is probably in there. Yeah. So, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it. It's Transformers. There's no there's no reason for me to beat around the bush on that one. It's Transformers by a mile for me.
I'm gonna go with I really did like Avengers Twilight again this week, and I liked where I really do. Now that Roddy Cat and I are going to try to remember how many issues are in the series, we are in the latter half of the story, so we see where this buildup is going. So I definitely applaud it, but I think I'm going to go with Immortal Thor because it was a primer on on some of the history, the God history of the world and creation as told by Marvel Comics, and that was helpful because it does lead into what's happening in this story, and it's all something that we said earlier. That I said earlier, it's canon that that Al Ewing has dug up and is building with, right? He's using that to build on what's happening now, and it's so great. And we're getting some more Dario Agro stuff too, and we're going to see how all this stuff fits in with some potential fourth wall breaking. So that's my click of the week.
Well, alrighty then. And with that, folks, let's get over into the news section. But first, an ad read.
Alrighty, our first ad read of the night for Wink. It's your personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torronté, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your taste and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. Place your first order with $20 off, and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink wines through CSPN. Do it today. Now we get into the news.
All right, folks. Cinematic news as we do it right about this time. And there we go. First off, oh, okay. Well, no, we're good. I just did something that I did not expect I should not have done. It's dumb. I don't know how I did that, but that's crazy. Anywho's, there we go. Captain Marvel fans celebrate movie's 5th anniversary, which, by the way, it's International Women's Month, and I know International Women's Day has already happened. But yeah, March 8th, to be specific, was International Women's Day, which means it's the anniversary of Captain Marvel's release 5 years ago. According to this article, yeah, it goes through the box office stuff, and it was a success, even despite rabble, yada yada. But apparently, fans have taken to the Twitters and whatnot, and shown their love of the movie and some of the stars, particularly Brie Larson, about it. And apparently Brie Larson was asked by Extra last month about her future with Marvel, and she replied, "I don't have anything to say about that." However, she followed the remark with a wry smile, which hopefully means that she'll be back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe soon, according to this article. So,
all right.
Next up.
So, in actually shocking news, X-Men 97 creator Beau DeMayo has been fired just weeks before the X-Men 97 animated series premiered. This was reported in the Hollywood Reporter. So the writer-producer who had worked on Moon Knight and Blade will no longer be promoting the animated show or moving forward with future seasons. I was pretty surprised to hear this. So
Same.
yeah, and he was supposed to be at the Hollywood premiere on March 13th, but he was let go right before that. It's just wild.
Yeah, as far as I know, at this time, we don't know why. I thought I saw a statement from the showrunners, but that was a story that was on Superhero Hype that is no longer there. Right. So, if we find out anything else about this, I guess we'll let you know. But yeah, Marvel didn't comment. DeMayo's people didn't also comment. So either somebody did something wrong or somebody messed up. One of the two. Yeah. So, yeah. And he's been silent on social media, so that could denote somebody's can't say anything until something happens. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Or vice versa. Either way, that's that. Which, by the way, folks, hey, X-Men 97 is next week, which adds to the shows that we're going to be talking about next week, or potentially talk about, next week. Next up, though.
Alrighty. This is you.
Yes. Giancarlo Esposito is still down to play Professor X in the MCU, but it comes with one big condition. Which I read this and it's like, at this point, it's not that big of a condition because basically he don't want to be in a wheelchair.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Which they could set up.
Exactly.
Right? They could absolutely set that up. It's not the first time that we've seen Charles Xavier walking around. He's walking around right now.
Thank you. Which is what I was about to say. Yeah.
So, they could set that up. It's just a matter of, setting it up in the story.
Right. Or realistically not setting up in the story, because I mean, if they go past the part where he was, in a chair and get to what's going on now, or just get rid of that altogether.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by setting it up.
Right.
That's what I mean by because it's too recognized. That's the thing. Even the hover, especially the hover chair, So like everyone's seen from the animated series, so they kind of have to explain what point everyone is kind of connecting with Professor Xavier if Esposito is going to be walking around. So
right. And we still got that.
That's all by setting it up. They don't necessarily have to set it up in the story. They just have to let us know at what point we're coming into the story.
Right. And like I said, we still have that because we just saw Sir Patrick Stewart playing that version.
Right.
And could come back, could very well come back as that version. So
absolutely. All right. Next up, Michael Keaton, he of the Batman look at the Oscars. Has no idea.
Yes. Oh, I need to put that in the show notes.
Still has no idea why he was in Morbius. Quote, even they couldn't quite explain it. He's confused too. That's the story.
I believe it. I totally believe it. That's all. There's really nothing else that needs to be said. The bigger story is what Agent 70 alluded to with the Oscar thing, which I'm still convinced. I said this on Twitter. I'm convinced Keaton wasn't playing. So if you don't know, the Oscars was last weekend, and there was a bit where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, who played Batman villains, Mr. Freeze and Penguin, y'all know this already, basically, pointed at Keaton in the audience, was like, yeah, that's him, that's it. He went up against both of us or whatever that was, and Keaton was like giving a come on look, and he was just dead serious the whole time. I was like, and people were like, yeah, he's still playing, like he was still playing Batman. I was like, no, that's just Keaton as he is right now. He wasn't playing, he wasn't even into the bit, he was just like, yo, just get the cameras off me. That's my thought about it, because it was like, because we know Keaton's kind of gotten slightly crotchety in his old age. He's still a Batman, still love him, but he's a little more hardened of a man. He's no longer Mr. Mom.
Oh my gosh.
He hasn't been for
like,
quite some
you want to
time.
get nuts?
Exactly.
Let's get nuts.
Right. So
next up.
Teen Titans live action movie in development with Supergirl writer penning the script. I loved friend of the show, William Bruce West, saying, "Don't you want to? James Gunn, shouldn't you finish the stuff that you already got on tap before you starting adding up new stuff to the thing?" Which, yeah, kind of got a point. But so yeah, there's a live action Teen Titans in development movie specifically in development in DC Studios. And Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow writer Anna Nogueira is penning the screenplay. So, according to this article, it says little is known about the feature, save her involvement, and including whether or not it is a part of James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC universe, which I can't imagine it wouldn't be. So, but yeah, you never know. We don't know what Warner Brothers is doing at this point. So. And this article mentions Titans and some other stuff, but yeah, that's pretty much that. Next up.
Tiny Toons Luniversity showrunner talks Buster and Babs Bunny controversy. Apparently there's a controversy.
Yeah,
so this is the animated series is returned for a second season, unbeknownst to myself. And the showrunner talked to comicbook.com to talk about Buster and Babs actually being related. Oh, being related. Okay.
Right, as opposed to them just
Spoiler
being
alert.
Whatever,
Right.
Yeah, friends or whatever the heck they were in the first place.
Gotcha. All right.
So yeah, less of a controversy, but obviously, article writers got to be hyperbolic. But also, there is probably actual people up in arms about it, actually. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is controversial to somebody, because people are silly. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, I feel like we talked about the whole second season thing last week about I did not know it was the second season, but it's on Max. I don't think either one of us has really been checking out Max that heavily. So
it's just it hasn't been on my radar. Period.
right.
It's not that we're not using Max that much. We're just
I'm not.
the show's not on our radar. So
okay, then I'll say it. I'm not checking out Max that much then. For it to be on my radar. But speaking of stuff on Max, and I probably shouldn't have put this in here, but I'm doing it anyway. Amazing World of Gumball 2024 movie gets exciting release update. And I only say that because I know one of the voice actors, I believe the actor who voices Gumball there was a video of him saying some real crazy stuff a while back. So while the show's not necessarily been canceled, but that dude has not been in a good light. So, which some would say reflects on the show. But yeah, so apparently there's a movie coming out for Gumball, which I loved. Gumball was a wild ass show. But it says here that the show's been dormant for 6 years. There's supposed to be a seventh one, but ain't no telling whether that's the case. But a seventh could be coming along with this movie that they're talking about. But that's pretty much all we know at this point. Next up.
Michael Culver, the actor known for playing Captain Lorth Nida in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, among numerous other roles, has died at the age of 85. So apparently he passed away sometime before March 12th. Oh, no, he passed away on February 27th, 2024, right. And his obituary was published just recently on March 12th. Culver is known within the Star Wars community for having a small but memorable role as Captain Nida. He commanded the Avenger and Imperial Star Destroyer within Darth Vader's Death Squadron and fought for the Empire during the infamous Battle of Hoth. Okay.
I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna have to. Apologies accepted, Captain Nida.
Oh, is that what? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
Yeah, Patti Jenkins claims she's back to that. There's no transition from that. This is the family. Patti Jenkins claims she's back working on Rogue Squadron movie apparently. And says she's working on the script right now. So if folks may or may not remember, she was attached to this Rogue Squadron movie, and something happened, and she was not on the project anymore. But apparently, she claims she has signed a new deal with Lucasfilm and Disney to write and direct this movie. And well, according to this article's summary, that she said that the project was initially paused for her work on Wonder Woman 3, but that's no longer going on. But I could have sworn there was other things outside of that got her off of this project. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's a money thing and that's got ironed out because this is happening if it is indeed happening. So it says here also in an earlier statement, the director said Rogue Squadron would honor her late father, who was a fighter pilot. So there you go. If it ends anything like Rogue One, I don't know what to say about it. But hey, Rogue One was good. Next up.
Speaking of it's all about the money, Billy Dee Williams has said in an interview with the Radio Times that he was asked whether he would ever put the cape of Lando Calrissian back on and play the character one last time. He responded concisely, "Pay me a lot of money and I'll sell my soul." And to that I say,
as I said on Twitter, that is a very Lando answer.
yeah,
that is absolutely a Lando answer. So, you know what? Yeah, hey, get that money. Star Trek Starfleet Academy sets filming window and episode count, according to this article. So Starfleet Academy is the next Star Trek series to come, following a group of young cadets, if the name didn't imply that in any way, shape, or form. Apparently, production is underway, with filming expected to start in late summer, with the first season confirmed to be 10 episodes. According to the summary in this article, also the series aims to cater to a new generation while welcoming back longtime fans, but it may not air until 2026. I don't know what that first part has to do with the last part, but okay, sure. Next up.
All right, so this is a pretty long article about it's about a chat that Terry Matalas, the showrunner,
yes,
Picard, Star Trek
yes.
Picard, and he basically chatted about several things that were considered to be made part of the last season of Picard, but they just couldn't fit it in. There's a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah,
everything from legacy ships to what happened to little kids now grown up. From Voyager, and why Janeway's not there, and all sorts of things.
Right. So yes, yeah. If you're interested, you should check out that article.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't joking about it being a long article.
It absolutely is. So, next up though, the Super Mario movie sequel is coming 2026. Yes, that's not uniquely comic related, but let's face it, it's Super Mario, and Mario Day did just end up also happening on the 10th. So. Woo! It's a go, I guess. I still haven't seen the first one. I still haven't seen the first Super Mario Brothers movie. So, but yeah, apparently this next one is going to potentially be released April 2026. So you got a couple of years. Next up.
I would get this one. All right.
That's okay. Something good coming to you. Don't worry about it.
The final legacy trailer for Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire sequel has hit. I'm not watching this trailer. I don't know if I'm watching this movie right away. We'll see. All right, this is definitely a game time decision. So, and I do not foresee making this a movie protocol movie. So, this trailer's out, folks. It's Hollywood. It's legendary. It's the legendary Godzilla style. I mean, we'll see what happens. That's all I gotta say. It's out. If you want to watch it, feel free. I don't know. I'm like, why does Kong have a gauntlet on? Action figures, I know, right?
Right. Well, that and probably he probably punched Godzilla one good time and broke his hand. Or this other new thing.
Burned, right? Or something like that. Like, right. I don't know.
Right.
This is just...
That's the only thing I could think of. Like, he broke his hand, so he needed a brace or something, and now he's got a mechanical arm or something. But you're right about the figures part. Hey,
Yeah.
look, in that Justice League King Kong thing, he's got a fucking Green Lantern ring.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously. I just saw an article on that. I hadn't read the thing, but I saw it and I was like, really? Are they really? They gave King Kong a Lantern ring. But then again, there's a planet with a Lantern ring, so who doesn't have one at this point?
Right. Goodness gracious. Anyway,
Before we go to this next one, actually, just got some info in the chat. Shout out to Von Gloom, aka or formerly known as Dork Geekus, that's in YouTube chat that I totally forgot to look at or I thought I had up. But going back to that X-Men 97 thing, he said he heard, and again, this is coming from from the other party, but I wouldn't be surprised. Heard it was because DeMayo had an OnlyFans. I don't know if that was a joke or if that's actually some truth, but one, that's funny, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I doubt it, but but that's still funny one way or another. Also, he said that going back to that that Giancarlo Benito story. Sorry, they could also use the mechanized walker from Wolverine and X-Men. I still haven't seen that whole show to explain why Chuck is walking. Yeah, I guess so. But no, they don't have to. Like I said, the core stuff is here. Don't have to go that far.
Right.
Also, he says, "Who's asking for a Teen Titans movie? Give us Batman Beyond movie with Keaton as the old man." I thought they were working on that at one point. I felt
that was, I believe, considered. That's always been something that we've heard rumors of.
And that might have also been caught up in the cut. I can't believe that was one. But if that was the case, but I feel like that got caught up in all the other WB stuff also, because they definitely was working on that.
Right on roll, Rorge. Right on roll.
Exactly. But Buster and Babs always said no relation in Tiny Toons. Yeah, that's true. But hey, it's a new thing. It's a reboot. Not a gritty reboot, but it's a reboot. Also, guess in the words of Maynard Keegan, I don't know who that is, he will sell his soul, his self-esteem, $1 at a time. I guess that's going back to the the Billy Dee Williams thing.
Right.
So, all right, now caught up on that. Godzilla -1, and welcome, sir. Good to see you as always. By the way, Godzilla -1 roars to victory with Best Picture win at Japanese Academy Awards. Of course, this was ahead of the next article, but yes.
Take the next one. Take the next one.
Oh, okay. I was going to let you have that one, but okay. Godzilla.
Because it's a combination.
Yeah, pretty much. Godzilla -1 also makes franchise history with first Oscar win, particularly for best effects.
Yes.
Yes.
Best visual effects.
Best visual effects. Yeah, I thought it was something else, but I guess that was just it. So
no, just best visual effects.
Yeah. So yeah,
we heard Arnold Schwarzenegger completely butcher some pronunciations of the credits attached to the award, but that was one of they did 2 awards, he and Danny DeVito. So
okay.
But yeah, it was pretty cool to see that, and in celebration.
You may have one more other chance to use that particular sound effect, and you will know when it happens. Yeah. Like I didn't watch the Oscars, huh?
I was about to say, I thought you were moving on to the next story.
Yeah, I am.
You were saying about the Oscars?
No, I was going to say I didn't watch the Oscars. But I just saw that bit that was making the rounds on the internet with the DeVito and Schwarzenegger, who also played twins, which is also funny. Which I guess that was the other reason why they were up there.
Right. And I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to be a riff on twins, but it turned into something else.
Right.
Because that's what I thought. So
right.
I watched bits and pieces of the Oscars here and there. I was in and out because I was waiting to see Godzilla win best visual effects. As soon as that happened, I was out.
You was like it? Yeah, there's nothing left for me here.
Exactly. I was out as soon as that happened. All right, next up.
So Von Gloom says still need to watch Godzilla -1. Yeah, and also I do too, but I'm waiting for it to come on Blu-ray, which we're still waiting for word on. We're thinking maybe possibly May, but whatever. We don't know yet. Also, Von Gloom says he had no time. He had to get to the chopper.
Oh, that's right.
Get out. All right, next up.
Next up, Avatar: The Last Airbender renewed at Netflix for final 2 seasons. So the double season order for the live action adaptation will conclude the fantasy drama. Okay, good for them.
I mean, it makes sense. It was only 3 seasons in an actual show anyway, so.
Right. Why extend it beyond that?
Or why not let it play out? Because let's face it, Netflix has canceled some stuff that could have lasted a little bit longer than it did. So, but I guess this one did well enough for them to justify it or something. I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews on this one, so, and I haven't watched it myself. But anyway, Anime Corner.
Anime Corner. Oh wait, I can pick something from this list.
Von Gloom, you will never finish One Piece.
And legs. Form.
Let it play.
And body. And all forms the head.
It's been a while since I played that one.
Yeah, we shouldn't get struck for that one. Plus, I talked over the first part of it anyway, so.
Right. So did I talked over part of it too. So
yeah. So Von Gloom says he needs to finish One Piece and start this. I'm like,
yeah. What episode are you on?
You will never finish One Piece. One Piece is like 1 million episodes. What do you even mean? And they're still putting stuff out. You're never going to finish that. Yes, classic Vulture on a Gold Lion. I was watching Gold Lion not that long ago because like for obvious reasons.
I have it in my queue. I have Gold Lion in my queue
because it's on Crunchyroll.
Sat down to watch it.
Right. So hey, never a bad time to watch either. So. But anyway, Anime Corner. Bartender Glass of God releases second trailer, main visual, and premiere date. Now I don't know if this is the same one that's because there is a bar or bartender related. I guess this is a new one. So there is a bartender related anime that's already on Crunchyroll. I thought it was this one, but apparently this is not. So yeah, Bartender Glass of God anime is set to premiere in Japan in April 3rd and will be later streamed on Crunchyroll. As the name would imply, it has something to do with bartenders, and it's probably if you know what, if I was going to say if that's a god, but if there is a god, but it's not even that serious. But if this gets as crazy as like say a Food Wars, I will probably check this out. I am finished. I don't. You know what? You say those words, and I couldn't tell you anything about what's anything is happening in One Piece. So, swear to God, the Japanese can make anything in anime or make an anime on any subject. They do. They pretty much do.
They do. They dive deep into the well of ideas to
absolutely. The one that I told Agent 70 about them lifting weights or doing workouts, that's still kind of bonkers. But I've actually found myself watching it a couple of times. Anyway, next up,
Crunchyroll announces the winners of the 2024 Anime Awards. I'm going to highlight a couple of the winners. Best Action, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Must Protect at All Costs character, Anya Forger from Spy Family. Best New Series, Chainsaw Man. Best Drama, Attack on Titan. There you go. Final season, the final chapters. Best Fantasy, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Swordsmith Village Arc. Best Ending Sequence, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Best Main Character, Monkey D. Luffy. All right, you want these people. Best Cinematography, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Best Supporting Character, Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Best VA Performance, English. Who cares? I don't know any of these people. So I'm
gonna stop Agent 70 and right now and say that just like with any other award shows, including Game Awards and Anime Awards, it was a popularity contest. Because I was watching that joint that day and I was like, okay, I know who's going to win, and sure enough, that's who it was because it was pretty much pop. And it's also fan voted on, so people vote with their heart and not with their heads.
Of course. Best Comedy, Spy X Family, Season 1, Core 2. Best Opening Sequence, Jujutsu Kaisen. Best Original Anime, Buddy Daddies. Buddy Daddies
is actually pretty good, though. I like Buddy Daddies.
All right. Best Animation. This had to win. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Swordsmith Village Arc.
I mean, no one's going to dispute it. So,
Yeah. And my favorite here is best continuing series, One Piece. Come on, because it's still continuing.
Yeah, right.
Always
Exactly.
gonna be continuing.
Just as I just said. It'll be here. Right. We're all done. We're all dead.
Right. And the last thing, the last one I'll talk about is best score, Attack on Titan, final season, the final chapter.
Of course you would say that.
Hey, of course I would. Best film, Suzume. I need to circle back to that. I've heard good things about it.
Yes, I have to. Obviously the most important to a lot of folks is Anime of the Year, which of course went to Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 because again, popularity contest. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve to win. I'm just saying it was either going to be that or Demon Slayer because none of the others had a chance. Well, none too many of the others had that much of a chance.
What I was going to say is none of the others I think had that much show to kind of represent themselves.
It's a popularity contest. That's plain and simple. Like I said, this is fan voted for, so this that's for the most part. I can't remember if they have another like a panel or something, but I know for the most part this is fan stuff. So it went the way it was going to go.
Got it.
Again, not saying that it doesn't deserve it, but I'm just saying there could have been some more considerations there. Anyway, wait until the competitive Thumb War anime. They probably already have that. That's life. The head is not involved in any. Yeah, you're right. The head is not involved in any important decisions. Sad but true. Next up, though, Crunchyroll announces spring 2024 anime season lineup, and actually that is I guess starting yesterday. The Ides of March, as it were. Yes, best cosplay absolutely goes to Megan Thee Stallion, who presented Anime of the Year and was looking damn good doing so. So I think when she did a JoJo character. I can't remember if that's the one she went up stage with. But anyway, this is updated March 15th. So let's see what's going on here. Kaiju number 8 is coming out April 13th. Black Butler Public School arc. Viral hit, we talked about that one. A bunch of to be announced stuff, and apparently Route of Odd Taxi sound, which if y'all haven't seen Odd Taxi, you should watch Odd Taxi. That joint is crazy in the best possible way, but also you'd never seen the ending coming. I'll put it this way. And I know they made some more of that, which I haven't watched. But yeah, Odd Taxi is some good stuff. You should check it out if you are. So stop it. There you go again with that fresh Jeffrey from Fresh Prince thing again.
All right, so check it out.
Next up.
So one of the this lineup that's coming up. The first one is the one that's of interest to me because I've heard of this. Kaiju number 8, and we finally now have a release date. Yeah,
we talked about this one before because I figured you would be interested in this one. But yeah, giant monsters. Who doesn't like kaiju?
April 13th. That's excellent to know. Yeah,
I said that already. And there's a trailer if you want to, if you're interested in watching the trailer. But you may or not need to. Doesn't sound like 1870 needs to. Or have you seen the trailer for it?
I have not.
Yeah,
I've seen. I've seen some animatics that were based on the anime.
I would say check the trailer out, see what you think, just out of curiosity. But you sound like you're going to check it out anyway, though.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I heard good things about I misspoke.
Right.
Like I'm a little lost here because I don't see, I'm not keeping track of the chat, so I'm not sure what's going on. But what I'll say is, to correct myself, the animatics that I saw at New York Comic Con were based on the manga. So
gotcha. Oh no, Von Gloom said something about Jeffrey from Fresh Prince got his own anime. He's talking about Black Butler.
I see.
Which I think he may have made the joke previously, but
understood. All right.
That's a lot. Yes. Well, we're going back to this, sadly. Akira Toriyama's colleagues shed light on the late Dragon Ball creator's condition. Apparently it was an interview with a comedian friend of his who shared some details about Toriyama that he learned from his 16-year friendship. It was I guess localized into English by some Redditor, and says that Toriyama didn't suffer any serious health issues until 2022, but was hospitalized during COVID. And according to his friend, some other stuff. I'm not going to read through all of this, but there was a possibility of a brain tumor, and some other stuff, which may or may not be connected to Toriyama's death.
It likely is, because if I'm not mistaken, I read an article that said something along the lines that Toriyama already had commented in something previously that he was not confident in his health.
Right.
Those were his words. So it's interesting that this would come out, and I tend to give it some credence.
Right. So, especially if it's somebody who seemed like they've known him for a good long time and would know, even if we don't know who they are. Next up, though.
All righty. Last in this section, Demon Slayer Season 4 has revealed its release date with a new trailer. So, Demon Slayer's 4th season is going to hit on... I just scrolled past the date. May 15th? Is that the date? Did I misread that? May 12th. May 12th this summer. Early, well, technically, I think still spring. So Demon Slayer's 4th season will arrive on the small screen on May 12th.
Yeah.
All righty.
Actually, that's not the last of this one, but this one's quick. There's a Demon Slayer article, but there's more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero characters confirmed. I meant to put this after the Toriyama thing, actually, but I put it down at the bottom. Wrong place. So yeah, there's actually, wait, I might have put it in the wrong place.
No.
So yes, that's the video game. I apologize. So this is the wrong, that is the wrong place. But hey, I'll say it here now. Yeah, there's some more characters added to the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero character count for that game that's in the works. I'm not going to move it. So now we're going to get over into the comic book news. Yeah, we've been saying that for that's been said for a long time. Von Gloom, the manga companies need to give their artists better work schedules. Couldn't agree more. That schedule is detrimental to their health. Yeah, there's
absolutely
any number of, we've been talking about, of some mangaka being either sick or dying or something that happened because of the way they work. It's oh well, it is probably as crazy, if not crazier, than how things happen over here in.
It's much crazier, I think.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of heavy lifting on like one or two people as opposed to a team or whatever over here.
Just very quickly, I wonder if digital art has affected any of the production for some of the artists and their schedules. I wonder if that's
as far as manga?
Yeah, as far as manga is concerned. Because we know that it's kind of affected American comics, but to some extent to its detriment. It all depends. So I'm curious to see or hear if there's any information on that. That might actually be something to research, just to look into how well or how deeply digital art has penetrated the manga production.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would be curious about that myself, actually. Von Gloom says the American comic artist at least has family time. Yeah, but they still don't have healthcare, so they really don't have as much.
The ones who have exclusive contracts do. Right. Those are the few and far in between artists that have exclusive contracts. Once they sign an exclusive, they're basically employees, so they get all that stuff.
Think Valiant is hiring AI artists. I wouldn't be surprised. Or what else Valiant is doing. Anyway, Flash finally understands the meaning of his ultra powerful new code name. Apparently, Wally West got a new code name, and of course, in true DC fashion, it's stupid to me. His code name is called Cynosure, or Cynosure, or Cynosure. The Cynosure. Cynosure. And then covers mysterious new villains such as the powers to access the deep change, because DC's always having something. You got the blue, you got the green, you got the red, and no one knows what the heck what's going on. So yeah, spoilers for Flash number 6, which I've been meaning to catch up on that book, but I don't know what the hell they're doing. Anyway, next up.
Thanos reclaims his crown as Marvel's ultimate villain, killing the one person we assumed was safe. Oh, so, you know what? Screen rant. Fine. So
yeah, I debated about putting this one in here because I have been reading that Thanos book, but I didn't read the last issue. But I saw this happening. So yeah, let's just say, hey, Thanos kind of got to somebody he's been after for a while because of the reasons they were looking for him in the first place, in a way. And yeah, let's just say hashtag stalker behavior.
Yeah, this is, kind of spoilery stuff for Thanos number 4. So yeah,
which was from like last week or two. So
yeah.
What's Blitz taken? Yeah, I don't know. It's DC. Who knows? One of Marvel's oldest supervillain teams has just reunited with his classic lineup. That's we already talked about Amazing Spider-Man number 45, so we can go past that. Next up.
All right. Okay, Jed MacKay reveals grisly new details about Blood Hunt. Okay.
It's coming, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner, folks. So, this is a Marvel article, but, you can take a look at this very quickly and see, some of the art and variant covers for Blood Hunt, the limited series, and some of the tie-in issues. If you take a look at this article, I still think it's a pretty novel way to start an event. The way they started this event, I like that, and I don't know if I like it enough to want to read the whole thing, but I like the whole idea of using the Dark Force characters and messing with them to create that permanent night. And I thought that was actually a pretty novel use of those characters and their power.
Yeah, but like it or not, this is going to go through stuff that we do read, and I know how we've already said in the past, like, yeah, sometimes that gets us off of books because we don't read it. But this is Jed MacKay, and I'm willing to give this a chance at the very least.
Right. And at least MacKay has some fun with it.
Right.
He says in this article, in this interview, as we've seen in Moon Knight, I keep chucking vampires in. Okay.
He's not wrong. I mean, we saw something coming with that book. It was like, it didn't make much sense. It was like, okay, well, here we go. Also, these covers are practically pretty good, and the number of people that are on here, some of which we haven't seen in a minute, is kind of amusing. So yeah, that's that. Next up though, oh wait. Okay, Von Gloom. Boo. He says, bet the details suck.
Oh no.
And Thanos is the Drake of supervillain. Stop. Anyway, from the ashes. Okay, so yeah, so this came out of South by Southwest.
Now I'm gonna see Drake with the ridge, with the jaw.
Somebody probably already drew that. From the ashes, Marvel's ambitious X-Men relaunch has been revealed, and this was recently at South by Southwest. So we got a bunch of new books coming out of that, which is Adjectiveless X-Men by Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman. Exceptional X-Men by Eve L. Ewing and Carmen Carnero. This one was kind of a surprise to me, but glad to see it. The Uncanny X-Men is coming back with creative team Gail Simone and David Marquez.
That seems to be the intriguing team.
Yes.
Right. So if you look at the teaser art, you basically have an idea of what the teams are.
Right. And they even have rosters in this article. So.
Right. And if you take a look at the teaser art in this article, And if you watch the trailer, I didn't watch the trailer, but I definitely saw the teaser art and the teams. Just based on the composition of the teams, I feel like the Uncanny book is the one I would want to look at and read.
Right.
That's just my own personal taste. It's a personal thing. You could be very much into trying to keep up with what Emma and Kitty are doing now, and those are the folks in the Exceptional book.
I mean, I'm definitely going to put an eye over there, and I'm kind of with you with Uncanny. Although I am slightly curious about the Jed MacKay book because it's Jed MacKay and it's got whatever they're doing with Beast.
Yeah, we don't know yet. Yeah, exactly. We're assuming that it's like kind of a reborn, as it were, Beast.
Right, or probably a merging of the two. Wouldn't be surprised if they do something that crazy. But the strike against that book is Quentin Quire. Y'all know I don't like what's a Quentin Quire. Even though they've done some stuff with him early on in the X-Force book or what, not to make him less annoying, but I still don't like. Infinity Stone Bling. Okay. How does Jubilee supposed to bling? Von Glum asks. I don't know, but I assume she's had a kid, which doesn't really mean anything. But she's not a teenager anymore. That part is certain. She might be late 20s, early 30s. I don't really know.
No, time hasn't gone that fast.
I don't know. They've done some. They've done some things, sir. So I wouldn't put it past that. But regardless, there's also some other books that was also announced outside of these main ones. So it looks like there's going to be X Factor's coming back, I guess. X-Force, Wolverine, Storm, Nyx. I don't know who the heck Nyx is, and there's a Phoenix book also coming. I don't know if those are like ongoing books or like miniseries, but they're on this poster. So. Underneath the three main books. If you're watching the video version, you can see the poster I'm talking about for yourself. I would have loved to seen that panel. I assume that's probably going to be out there because South by Southwest was last weekend. So was this past weekend? Actually, excuse me, this past week rather. So I think it's ending tomorrow. Regardless, real quick, I wanted to just circle back to Jubilee. She actually didn't have a kid. That Shogo kid was adopted. Oh, right. That's right. It's just because they left Shogo in other worlds anyway as a dragon.
Exactly, as a dragon.
So either way, you're right. That is an important correction. Von Glum said Nyx should be interesting. Nyx was a bunch of teenage mutants in New York. Oh, right. NYX. Got it.
X.
I see. Oh, yeah, I didn't see the X was a little bit more pronounced in this. Okay. Still don't know what it is, but hey, we'll do it. At first, something made me think about the Children of the Atoms, that book with those the mutant wannabes from recently.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some of those characters come back. I forgot what it was. Like, was it Annual?
It was the one that was the actual mutant. Definitely that came back, and I think a couple of them was kind of there. But I don't know. I don't think they've been seen since. It introduced Laura Kinney to the main Marvel comics. She was mind controlled and had.
Yes.
Oh, she was mind controlled and had a pimp like Sam Wilson. Great. Okay, not exactly like Sam Wilson, but y'all wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the retcon. Next up.
Anyway. No, I will just say that this article does do a very good job of laying out what the premises, what the various premises are for the various X books. So it's an actual useful read.
Yes, definitely. So, also I know Von Gloom, you said something about not having come across Evel Ewing's work or something you said on Twitter about that. She's written some decent stuff. So I will say. And no relation to Al that we know of.
All right.
Next up.
All right. Where are we?
VeVe.
VeVe Comics launches digital comics and collecting platform. So I got this email. Did you?
Yes, I did.
VeVe, the world's home of premium digital collectibles, comics, and artworks, is expanding with the launch of VeVe Comics on March 14th, giving comic book fans a new way to collect and read new release comics. So this is a new way to get your new release comics since they killed the Marvel app. So apparently
Yeah.
it's a multi-publisher platform. Okay, so it's debuting with
Yes.
Marvel Comics as its first publisher.
Yeah, actually, I had that page up recently. Actually, there it is. I just pulled it up. So you can see, like, they got some stuff. If you watch a video version, you can see, like, they got X-Men Red, Wolverine, Mighty Report Knights, Immortal Thor, 6 issues of Dark X-Men, some Black Panther stuff. So, yeah, it's an interesting choice. I know I saw William Bruce West was, I don't know if he was joking, but it was like, can someone please explain what's going on here with this? And it kind of just seems like what it is. Like Agent 70 said, in lieu of Marvel getting rid of their app.
Their first, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Their collecting app, as opposed to Marvel Unlimited.
Right. They're going with this other place that I'd never heard of before. So I don't know. I'll check out the app, but I think I'm good with what I got. And there's Marvel Unlimited if you want to really go. I know some of the stuff is not going to come out for another few months on there, but hey,
Right.
I guess if you want to buy stuff.
I suspect they may push the date back, the publishing date on Unlimited back to get people to jump into VeVe. You never know.
I mean, they already got it. Like, it's already like 4 to 6 months as it is, though. But
Right.
you're
But
probably right. They could push it a little
they
bit more.
Hastened it, right. They hastened it for some of them. Like, they made it sooner
Right.
for some.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, you thought Von Gloom thought Eva Ewing was white until he saw her picture yesterday.
Oh, you know what I was gonna say is I used to joke that she was related to Al Ewing.
Right, that's why I brought that up.
Her back then.
Right.
So I think this is when she was getting some press for doing the Riri Williams stories, the Ironheart
Right.
series,
Right.
and that's when I saw her picture.
Right. Von Gloom says, couldn't a digital only fan use Comixology except for one? Comixology apps is no more and is folded into Amazon at this point. And
Yeah.
that app kind of sucks for that.
Yeah, it's folded into the Kindle app, and unless you have a color Kindle, it's
Right.
it's fun.
Right. It kind of sucks for that now. So no, not really. Anyway, next story. Yeah, I don't know. We might look into this VeVe
Marvel
thing.
Heroes, right? So next up, Marvel Heroes goes subatomic with the Micronauts in new variant covers. Look at that.
Move this. So remember we talked about this. This is the reason why I put this in here, because we had talked about this, and I thought we had talked about it, but we didn't.
Right. So I mentioned this, I think, off the
Yes.
air to Roddy
Mhm.
Cat. So that's why it's great. That's wwhy I stepped all over Roddy Cat taking this story, because I wanted to say that.
No,
the
I'm glad he got it.
Micronauts-
Yeah, I'm glad he got it, because the theory that we had in going, I think we've also said it on the show, that this could be bringing back, this could be potentially bringing back ROM and the Micronauts and
Hasbro license, right?
back
The
to-
Hasbro licenses.
right back to Marvel. So we don't know,
Yeah, we
especially
don't
with
know. It's
the
just a
ROM
sign-
variant already happened.
Right. It's a sign of increased cooperation, but we
Right.
don't know if there's going to be any new stories being published. Because look, we've already gotten the ROM covers, and we're getting the omnibus, so we might be getting a Micronauts omnibus soon enough.
Actually, yeah, that I think that also came along with that news of the ROM stuff. So yes.
Oh no, yeah, there is a Micronauts omnibus.
Yes.
Look at that.
Mhm.
Arriving in April. Yeah, so look,
Yeah.
we're getting it. Increased cooperation between Hasbro and Marvel.
Mhm.
At least these licensed properties.
Well, so Marvel originally lost the Von Gloom was asking. He said he thought Marvel lost the license. They did a while ago, but IDW, who had the Hasbro license, lost that, and so now it could potentially come back to Marvel because of that. If Hasbro wants to kind of shop around their stuff, even though the Transformers and GI Joe is with still with IDW, well, with Skybound, but with under Image, but they have those, so they're not doing that whole shared universe thing anymore, thank goodness. And ROM and the Micronauts are potentially free to come back to Marvel if they so wish that. Well, so Von Gloom says it's weird that Marvel still kept their dire race and after Marvel lost ROM. Yes, but go ahead. Yeah,
they
go
were
ahead.
the creations of
Right.
Marvel. Dire rates did not exist under the Hasbro banner because they were created in the comics.
And I
So-
believe the other Space Knights also, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So it was only ROM was the only one.
Right. They were able to use all the other Space Knights except for Rom.
Right. And the Micronauts. The Micronauts were so it was Rom and the Micronauts. Those were the ones that were separate, that were licensed, and everything else that, like Agent 7
and that's
said.
just certain Micronauts, because characters like Bug were original comics creations. So they were able to use Bug in like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. So there you go. No, Rom and Microsoft would not be in the Energon universe. They don't need that. G.I. Joe and Transformers are good by themselves. Next up, though.
I mean, what I was going to say is they're contemporaries in terms of being sold around the same time as toys.
Right.
So it makes sense. And there was, in fact, a Marvel comic crossover, G.I. Joe Transformers, that I bought as a kid.
Same. Yeah. I think I still have them.
All right. You can take that.
I got this one. Yeah. Star Wars Visions, Ronin Duels, a Mischievous Adversary. So this is a preview for. I thought this was out already. But yeah, Star Wars Vision, Takahashi Okazaki #1, as part of an occasion series of tales from comic creators that kicked off with Star Wars Visions #1, Peach Momoko #1. Oh, okay. This is a person. This is a name, not the. Gotcha. Okay. So the story of Ronin. So yeah. So remember that Star Wars Visions short that had the Ronin with the red lightsaber. So this is pretty much taking place after that, or continuing that, and which is going to arrive next week actually. And there's some preview pages of it if you are so interested in checking out this book. Next up.
Alrighty, Imperial March begins with a galaxy of new toys, apparel, and more. So apparently, a celebration of Star Wars villainy. Oh my gosh! Right, so Star Wars is bring on the bad guys. So we got T-shirts, toys, more toys. Is that a new? Oh my gosh! That's a new N1 Starfighter with Anakin and R2. And yeah, banners and all sorts of cool downloadable posters. Yeah, bad guy stuff. If you love that stuff, you want some red in your deco and your toys, feel free.
Yeah, Young Annie. So I'm just scrolling through the article. So yeah, there's Young Annie and the N1 with R2 and other stuff that Agent 70 mentioned, and a downloadable poster set from the High Republic, which I'll probably get that because hey, why not? But it's free, and it's Phil Noto, who does great art. To go back and answer Von Gloom's question, yes, that is the creator of Afro Samurai, who is doing that. I did not put that together actually. So the guy that did that Ronin thing from Star Wars Visions, he also created Afro Samurai.
Right. I remember us talking about that, if I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. We talk about a lot of stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, that's some of that stuff was as far as this Star Wars stuff. Like, that's all right, cool. Next up, though, roll for initiative with the Merc with a Mouth in an all new Deadpool role plays the Marvel Universe one shot. So this is again another adventure for that Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. So I guess they've been going hot and heavy with the adventures with that. The upcoming book includes a story comic lead-in by Cullen Bunn, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, a full-fledged standalone RPG adventure, and a new full character profiles. Readers can play as Deadpool, I don't know why you'd want to, and his team, or use of their own characters, in a fourth wall-breaking adventure right out of Marvel Comics. Do we have, so we have a date of this. Yeah, July 17th is when that's going to happen. It's a one-shot adventure. Like I said, it is using the Marvel role-playing game rules, so you will need that. But I assume this is going to have everything you would need for that. Next up,
Renegade Game Studios will release beginner boxes for 2 of its Hasbro licensed role-playing games, Transformers and G.I. Joe, in May. the company announced this. The game is for players 14 and up and will retail for $35. So you use cooperative storytelling and the dice to become Autobots in the Transformers game, and you take on roles of members of the G.I. Joe team and Battle Cobra using storytelling and the dice. So you get a gameplay booklet, a new first adventure, and a bunch of interesting stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Don't you just long for the days of that one site we used to peruse?
That's down, right?
Yeah, I think it's still down.
Yeah,
But nevertheless, hey, I think
we got it when we did.
Actually, there's still some stuff I might need to get from you that I don't have anymore, but I did find a lot of that stuff that we did get.
What I was gonna say is, Rodicat and I stayed up just to take advantage of what we found. That's it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's as if we knew what was going to happen. What happened was going to happen, but we didn't know.
Right.
But yeah, because we had plans for.
At the same time, like we just kept the call going,
Mm-hmm.
and we said, "All right, I'm getting this, and this,"
Yep.
while the getting was literally good.
Yep. Now, some of the stuff I do know that is taken out of, but that's another thing for another show. But this, as far as this is concerned, one of these or both of these, I kind of wanted to at the very least get a box. I thought I had the Transformers one, so I don't know if this is different from the one that I saw or have or not. But I would be curious in getting these books just to kind of peruse through them, because we did also find some previous G.I. Joe / well, I think it was a G.I. Joe one that we saw, not a Transformers one that we saw. We definitely saw a G.I. Joe one though.
You mean like the old one?
Like an older one, yeah.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah. Amongst with some other treasures that we found on a certain site. So rest in peace that site. Anywho's, and this is for me anyway. Transformers Hasbro reveals Target exclusive Optimus Prime and Autobot Bullseye figures. In fact, I think this is up as of yesterday, and I almost stuck around for the pre-order, but I wasn't going to. If it's there, it'll get there. But yeah, so there's Target colored Optimus Prime, which you know what I mean by Target colored, the red and white. You can see the pictures right there. Looks like it comes with a cassette looking thing. I assume that's Bullseye. The trailer is the Target truck with the Target dog on it. Do I want this? Possibly. Oh, it says, yeah, Optimus is accompanied by a Bullseye figure, which I guess that's the name of the Target mascot. That converts from.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense because it's not, I think the target is over his eye, right? It's like a spot over his eye.
Right.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah, the Bullseye figure that converts from dog mode to mailer package mode. So not a cassette. Let's see, it's priced at $60, slated to be released on June 23rd. Again, it is exclusive, and pre-orders came up on March 14th. So this is a few days past that. But hey, you probably can get your hands on it if you want to. Or, we'll see. Next up.
Okay, so a Walmart Star Raiders line first look. You got to look at Lockdown, Cannonball, and more. So these are Transformers?
Yes.
All right, and this is a new line. So these are the Star Seekers line. And take a look at the pics, and you can, I guess, order these. So wait. Each of these are reuses of molds, and yeah. So this is an upcoming line, so it's soon to be sold.
Right. I can't remember if these are like from the Japanese line or this is something from the movie. I don't know. I don't know. Either way, I don't. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care about these ones. Next up, though, hey, guess what, folks? Mattel Street Sharks 30th anniversary figures were up for pre-order on March 15th. So, if you're young enough or old enough to remember the Street Sharks, Half shark, half man, fighting evil. That's the plan for these fantastic Street Sharks action figures. That's the article saying that, and I assume that's from the show.
Yeah, I was about to say. I hope you don't have that memorized.
No, that was an article.
Our time, yeah.
No, all I remember is fighting crime in a future time from Cops, and I don't know why I remember that. Yeah,
even I remember that. That's scary.
Yeah, and there's a few more I can say, but I won't just because whatever. But yeah, I could probably say some obscure cartoon ones, but Street Sharks is not in my wheelhouse on this one. But apparently 30 years of the, according to this article, iconic TV show. If it was iconic, it would be, anyway, you don't want to shut up. Let's see, 30th anniversary figures. Pre-orders started on March 15th with a suggested retail price of $24.99 each. There you go. Have at it, folks. Next up.
All right, mix and match these upcoming Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures to create your own unique mutant. So apparently you can yank them apart and put them back together in different ways. That's kind of cool, actually. That's something that you can, if you could do that without actually breaking your toys, then hey, that's actually not a bad idea.
I feel like, was it robotics? It's not robotics what I was thinking, but there was a line of toys that you could actually do that with. I mean, robotic, you could do that with, but those were more like Lego type situations or whatever the case may be, but it wasn't in humanoids. Maybe it wasn't. Anyway, I remember an old toy line that kind of did something like that, where you could just mix and match stuff off of each one. So
yeah, but in all seriousness, that's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, if you're a Turtles fan and this is appealing to you, have at it, because it is $10 each, starting in August.
And relatively reasonable price point. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Next up, Digimon is launching a pricey full-color Digivice. A lot of nostalgia going on, and don't think that wasn't noticed. So to help celebrate the 25th anniversary of Digimon, the franchise isn't just releasing new Digivices, but had a convention to honor the digital monsters. The official message was from quote, starting with the theatrical version of Digimon Adventures that released March 6, 1999, and the TV animation of the same title that began March 7th, 1999. Many selected children and their partner Digimon have spun the story of Digimon animation, end quote. That's not the end quote, excuse me. We would like to express our gratitude to all the, quote, children who have adventured with us. Digimon will continue to evolve into a future yet to be seen. So, that being said, 2 iterations of Digivices are currently available to pre-order by, of course, Namco Bandai. With the pre-order period coming to a close this April, the Digivices will be sent out this September, with Bandai, whatever, y'all know me. Bandai offering a blue and orange version of the device. That will retail around $110. So yeah, and I believe this is a Tamagotchi type device, which it was anyway. So there you go. Cool. Next up.
Oh, so you can actually get, so in honor of Godzilla -1 winning Japan's first Best Visual Effects Oscar, 3D animator Nelson Escobar presented an incredibly detailed Godzilla model available to download for free $99. So, this was as a token of appreciation to the movie team and a gift to the fans of the Godzilla franchise. A 3D animator, Nelson Escobar, also known as Nelsonist2, presented a free, realistic model of Godzilla from Godzilla -1. The model, along with the celebratory Oscar-receiving animation, immediately went viral on X/Twitter. So this is, this is something that's done, outside of the scope of Toho. This is just something, something somebody did that's cool. It's a 3D model.
Right. So I looked into this a little bit further, and I believe, because I went to the site to this, you got to sign up to get the model. But I believe if you have a 3D printer, this will work with that, and you can, use the
Have
3D
at
printer and have at it. From what I looked through this thing, which is still cool, you know. So you would probably have to do some painting and whatnot yourself, but yeah, I guess roughly you'd get some of the pictures that you some to see without the blue flash or without the blue roar or whatever. Anyway, that's cool. Next up, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire Ecto 1 popcorn container, which apparently there's 2 different ones. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. Thinking of something else. So there's this Ecto 1 popcorn container that is now available for pre-order. There's also another.
Pre-order? You can pre-order these things now?
Yeah, because they've gotten to be, some of them have gotten to be big collector's items, these popcorn buckets. So.
Oh my goodness.
We have previously talked about the Trap one, which I believe there's 2 different versions of that. I think there's an AMC and a Regal one. Which I honestly kind of want to get the the AMC one. If you see over here on to the left, it's got the little bucket, and then there's a Regal one which is basically the Trap without the pink bucket. And I think that was what we were talking about before, because I thought it was the same one, but apparently it's 2 different. The 2 different companies are doing separate ones of the same thing. But yeah, if you want a Ecto 1 bucket, there you go. If you want a Trap bucket, you got options, folks. And what is actually also Regal's saying that there's a listing for the Firehouse popcorn tin, which is like $12. The Ecto 1 is $35 and expected to ship on April 1st of all days. So yeah.
So they're shipping it to your house?
Yeah, you can.
So you can bring it to the theater and have them fill it for you with popcorn?
I believe that is the case. Or you could just keep it at home and use it at home, I think.
Wait, we've gotten to this point where these are collector items and people are pre-ordering them?
Yes.
Coach Lombardi.
Yeah. I mean, remember I told you that's how I got my my Black Panther bucket, because you could go.
You pre-ordered it?
Yeah, I got it from. I think it was the AMC. No, I didn't pre-order it. I didn't pre-order it. No, I didn't pre-order it. I went to the site and they still had some.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't pre-order it, but they.
Right, no, but they sent it to your house. You didn't have to buy it at the theater.
Right, because they have a site to where you can get stuff like this,
Right. I did not know that. I thought this was something that you would have to go to the theater to get to actually entice people to go to the theater.
Oh, you still can. Yes, you still can.
So you know what?
The world is taking a turn for the serious.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I assumed that it was a ploy to get people to go into the theater to buy these things.
Oh, it's still that.
I did not know if you could. I understand, but you know what I mean. I did not know you could get it independently.
Right.
That's what's kind of blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember which one was. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one was the first one that was like real big. Because I know when they first started doing like. Before the Black Panther one, there was one that was like real big, and you could go to the theater. You could just go into the theater in certain theaters, ask for the bucket, and just roll out. And people were doing that, and it sold out. So, and somewhere in there, the site was already up, or whatever their merch site was already up, and was doing some of this stuff on a limited basis. So I guess they decided, hey, this thing is a big enough thing to kind of do, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. You're right, but it's wild out there. Anyway, next up.
Just saying. All right. So after some teases, the DC Multiverse JLA Plastic Man Build-A-Figure Wave is now live to order around the internet. So you can get in this wave the 90s Aquaman with the fishing hook with the hook for a hand. I remember that.
Yep.
You can get the movie-esque Batman costume, the Batman 89 costume.
Mm-hmm.
You can get electric. I can't believe I'm gonna
Superman
reference.
Blue.
I believe it was a Debbie Gibson song, Electric Youth, Electric Blue Superman, because I remember hearing that same joke.
Mm-hmm.
When back in the day when Superman went electric blue. And you finally get a Jon Stewart Green Lantern.
A classic Jon Stewart, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So wait, so this is a 4-figure wave, and you have to get these figures to be able to build Plastic Man.
Yes. Which, I guess. I can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love me some Plastic Man, but I guess I'm actually more looking at this this freezer that's on the corner. the full power freezer. But yeah, these are $24.99 each, and will ship sometime this summer.
All right. Oh, I apologize. This is not movie Batman. Apparently, it is apparently just a Batman in a black suit, but it looks so much like the movie Batman with the belt buckle, with the utility belt. So
close enough. That's all I'll say. And 90s Hook. I think 90s Hook showed up in Justice League actually. Yes, they did. They did the Hook.
They did
Aquaman.
Yeah, they reenacted it in Justice League. They did. Yeah, I believe you are correct.
Yeah, which is still a great show. Anyway, last but not least, DC made huge changes to the. Why did I put this last instead of where I had the other stuff? Anyway, DC made huge changes to the Flash's origin with major implications for the franchise. This is Jay Garrick, not Wally West or Wallace West. Spoilers for Jay Garrick the Flash. Which I had tried to read, but I didn't. Apparently, yeah. So Jay Garrick the Flash delves into the Golden Age species origin story. We find out, spoiler alert, he has a daughter. I know Dirt didn't like that too much for some other reason, but hey, it is what it is. Jay Garrick's new origin involves a sinister twist to his creation as the Golden Age Flash, according to this article. And it revolves around the plot regarding the aforementioned daughter. That has, according to this article, major implications for the entire Flash franchise. What those implications are, I don't know. I remember the story leading up to the revelation of the daughter, and I meant to continue to read that because there was another miniseries actually going on at the same time that was doing that, and I didn't get a chance to read it. So I don't know. I'm curious as to what that whole deal is about coming into this. So either way, that is the end of the news, folks. Can we get one last ad read?
Our last ad read of the night is for Amazon. Help us keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN. What do they send us? Send us a payment. Waiting for my soundboard to flip. That helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today. Waiting for the soundboard. Oh, the Gremlins are out a little bit tonight, folks.
They said we're late. I was tired. We don't want to be here anymore. Which, hey, you know, it is late and I need to go to bed because I gotta get up early in the morning. So this popcorn bucket makes more visual sense than the Dune sandworm booty hole. Yeah, the less we talk about that Dune bucket, the less. Thank you.
Who was thinking? I don't know. No one was thinking, obviously, when they designed that.
No, I don't think they were. They just thought, hey, we can get cash. This is big business now. What are we gonna do? Sandworm, okay. But this looks kind of settled anyway. Turn those machines back on.
It's authentic looking.
Right.
Yeah. Of what? Well, exactly. What does it look? What does it look authentic to? Right.
Yeah, I know. Somebody's probably using it as a sex toy. Anyway. Ew. God. Someone must have fed him after midnight again. Yeah, I know. Telling this is wild. So. It's wild out here. I don't know. That poor Von Gloom says some poor intern got fired or got a raise probably. I don't know because people have been talking about that doggone bucket. If anything else. So, but anyway, folks, we're gonna get out of here for tonight. We should be back on our regular schedule of Thursday nights for the next show. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes.
Good. So yeah, Thursday nights, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you want to catch us live, yes, I'm doing this up front, but youtube.com/TheClickNation or twitch.com/Comic Book Chronicles if you want to check us out live.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, hit the like button so you know when we're on.
Sounds like that you new edition. Yo, whatever, hit the Alf button now. But anyway, stay geeky yourself, Von Gloom. And with that, yeah, thank you so much. I always appreciate you being around. I have been Radicat. You can find me at Radicat on Twitter. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. And you should check Instagram because I put some new stuff up. Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads.
Hitting the can. There we go.
Go pester him to see when we're going to get some new art from him. I know he's busy though. Don't actually pester him for that. But you know, just kind of nudge a little bit. You know, get him back on his art game.
My old bones need, right?
Yeah, you know, hey, just like you said earlier. You know, the bones need to be the bones still remembered, but they need some jostling.
Yeah, exactly.
You could find PCN_dirt on Twitter, Pop Culture Net on Twitter, popculturenetwork.com, and his umbrella sites therein.
Come on. Want to work. The gremlins are out.
And last but not least, Tim, DOGG98 on Twitter, CB Chron on Twitter, which is the Comic Book Chronicles Twitter account, The Kliq Nation on Twitter, that's THEKLIQNATION, and of course, theklicknation.com. But most importantly, he's over at comicbook.com, where he's over there writing his face off. There you go. I was hoping you were preloading the button.
What's going on tonight? Like,
yes.
We've had gremlins worse. This
is true.
You know, this is just annoying, guys. It's coming towards the end of the show.
Yeah, it's true, but and on both ends at that, which is again not surprising. It does happen, but you could find us on the Coastal Podcast Network. That's CSPN.US. Do
it today.
You can also find us on your podcast producer place address, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts.
That's right, folks. We'll be back, but for now, just Seckle. This has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One. Oh, come on. Come on. There you go.